for adult and child CPR first aid courses at Northern Michigan University.
That's right, Mandy. TV6's Michael Sobek joins us live from the PEEF on NMU's campus to take a closer look at the first aid certification course. Good morning, Michael.
Good morning. Today we are jumping into a very important topic, and that is CPR first aid and, of course, how to use an AED, how to use a tourniquet. These are all life-saving skills that hopefully you never have to use, but are important to know in the case of an emergency. Now, joining this morning is Katie Moe, who is the director here at the PEEF. You're in charge of these recreation classes and activities, and this is a very important certification that people could learn from. Starting with first aid, what is the major breakdown of this part of first aid CPR training?
Sure. So the NMU Rec Sports is actually an authorized provider of health and safety programs for the American Red Cross. And what's really unique about this month is that September is National Preparedness Month. And what the Red Cross wants us to do is we want to get people prepared for emergencies, because emergencies happen everywhere. So that really instills us going out, making sure that we have stocked first aid kits, making sure that our homes, our businesses, we're carrying those first aid kits with us when we're going out into public, in our backpack, in our purses, but also knowing that when we are going to encounter an emergency, we've got to be prepared. So when we look at first aid kits, you know, they're really going to vary. You could do anything from a small first aid kit that you could purchase at a big box store, some of the larger ones that are a little bit more expensive. You could also make your own first aid kit at home, having things like ACE wraps and splints and pulse oximeters. You could make something like a tourniquet kit that's going to contain a tourniquet and some of the gauze and different supplies that you would need to actually stop the bleed, which is really important. So the accessing and being prepared. Now, September is also World First Aid Day. It was on September 13th. And the highlight this year was on climate change and the effects that climate change and extreme weather events are having on our health and our safety. And we saw that this summer with Texas. We see it with heat waves. So really encouraging people to be more aware of the effects that climate changes are having on us and how our body responds to heat. So what we're going to do is we're going to learn actually how to apply the tourniquet. So to do that, what we're going to do is you're going to go ahead and find the spot that's bleeding. Any type of bleeding that we have that's pooling or that is going over the area, we're always going to first apply the direct pressure to that area. If the pressure does not stop, if the bleeding does not stop after applying pressure, we're going to apply a tourniquet to the area. So we're going to do that about 2 to 3 inches above the site of the wound. We're going to strap the tourniquet on as tightly as possible. And then what we'll do is we will twist this windlass into place. So that way, that pressure is actually going to help stop the bleed while we apply the direct pressure. So we'll pop that windlass right in there, continuing to apply the direct pressure to the area. If it was an area that was the head, the chest, or the abdomen, we wouldn't be able to apply a tourniquet to that. We would want to actually pack the wound.
Well, coming up in our next segment, we're going to keep talking about first aid. Applying a tourniquet is a very important skill, and you can learn more about that with this course. And in that next course, we're talking about CPR, how to use an AED, and of course, a little bit more of that first aid care. And that's all in a few more minutes, so you'll want to stick around for that. It's back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Michael. We'll be looking forward to that.